Peace. Shalom. Back again with the 26th chapter of the Road from Orion. Please screenshot. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your confidence through likes, comments, and subscribing are greatly appreciated, and they're lifting. Don't forget to screenshot everything so you can read along. Cyril, the bishop of Alexandria, had openly embraced the cause of Isis, the Egyptian goddess, and had anthropomorphized her into Mary, the mother of God. Isis unveiled H.P. Blavatsky. Isis was the wife of and sister of Osiris and the mother of Horus. In the myth, she found the lifeless body of Osiris and used magical powers to bring him back to life by hovering over his body like a sparrow hawk, just long enough to conceive their son Horus. Like the Virgin Mary, Isis was impregnated by divine fire, the fire of the rising virus Osiris. The story goes on to tell of the rivalry between Horus and Seth over the throne of Osiris. Seth seized it when Osiris was dismembered and inert, booting Horus out. With my new understanding of religious symbols unmasked as genetic design, I imagine that the fight between Horus and Seth had something to do with proteins, and John must have thought the same. For after Lucia retreated into her glass house, John found a genetics book on a living room shelf beneath the bloody poppy. The book described Lucia's model, the lytic and lysogenic pathways of phage lambda. As Lucia said, the competition between two proteins regulated whether lambda would be dormant or active inside the host cell. These two proteins, CRO and C1, literally fought for protein control over the two arms of lambda genome. If C1 occupied the right arm first, its proteins would be produced, resulting in human life and lysogenic lifestyle of lambda. If CRO occupied the right arm first, it would be produced and C1 would dry up. Control of the right arm was primary because it determined which protein would be made and which lifestyle lambda would enter. We easily concluded that the evil Seth was C1 and Horus was CRO. Thinking about this, we realized that when the wicked Seth was victorious over the arms of lambda genome, Osiris was dormant and life as we know it would develop. On the other hand, when Horus was victorious, Osiris rose from the dead, the new species developed, and the arms were once again balanced. A human death allowed Osiris to rise and lambda to activate the lytic cycle. I then remembered the Egyptian image of the risen Osiris bent backwards into a circle, and I knew this indicated lytic rolling circle replication. To think that it all came down to lysogeny versus lysis, the evil Seth versus Horus, disturbed me, and I wondered if the production of C1 protein was what they meant by the Roman Catholic doctrine of original sin. To think that in some way human life was a blunder because Seth stole the operator sequences of the lambda right arm from Horus was troubling. Suddenly a sense of relief flooded me as I remembered my talk with Don Quixote. I missed the man of truth, and I found my mind wandering away from its immediate deadlock into thoughts of how I could get back to him. At that moment, John found a sheet of paper Lucia had tucked into the genetics book that deciphered part of Lucia's code relating to the Eye of Horus. On it was written, Whole eye of Horus, eye of Seth, and eye of Horus united equal double crown, double bull, two Eneds, two eyes, two lands, two mounds, two arms, two conclaves, field of offerings, two bowls of sacred milk, the great mansion, the iron throne of King/Osiris. Eye of Seth equals red-green, lower Egyptian crown. The black bull, lesser Ened, black left empty, green sweet eye, southern land, or southern lower mounds of Seth, left arm/hand of earth, lower Egypt, three bread portions in house of Thoth, Seth's bowl, a mansion pillar, iron of lower Egypt. Eye of Horus equals white upper Egyptian crown, white bull, greater Ned, right white full eye. Northern land or northern upper mounds of Horus, right arm/hand of sky. Upper Egypt, full bread portions in house of Horus, Horus bowl, a mansion pillar, iron of upper Egypt. As we quickly reviewed it, we could understand why scholars were confused. The whole Eye of Horus could be called 12 different names, and it was composed of the Eye of Seth and Horus, which each had numerous symbolic names. Using logic, we could draw conclusions from the code about certain symbolic relationships between the whole Eye of Horus and its two parts, the Eye of Seth and the Eye of Horus. If the whole eye of Horus is the two arms of lambda genome, then the left arm of Seth plus the right arm of Horus is the whole eye of Horus, or the whole genome. If the whole eye of Horus is two bowls of sacred milk, then Seth's bowl is full of milk, as is Horus's bowl. From this, we are able to understand Lucia's statement about Isis representing the nutrient medium lactose. For the whole eye of Horus was only functional when both of the lambda arms were nourished by lactose. Human cells use glucose, not lactose. Thus, the milk goddess Isis, the nurturing mother, the Regina Kali, was indispensable to the Horus lineage, the new species, the afterlife transformation, or what I affectionately refer to as Durer's qubit catastrophe. Now, John and I understood the frequent references in the Egyptian text to the Milky Way, the sweet and white eye of Horus, the white bull of the sun. For lactose is the main sugar in white milk. Along with this, we knew that the symbol of the name of Isis in Egyptian is an empty seat or throne from the textbook. John discovered that the dormant lambda lodges in the host chromosome at the lactose genes. Put simply, Osiris is sleeping with his sister, Isis. This meant that when the dormant lambda rises, that is, when Osiris rises, the lactose gene is empty. So the empty gene, seat of Isis, indicates that Osiris has risen, and that is why the pharaoh depicted her headdress as an empty throne. Reading further, we discovered that normally lactose is repressed in the bacterial cell by a coiled snake-like protein that prevents expression of the lactose gene by binding to the DNA so that the genes cannot be transcribed. But the primary lac gene can be induced by the presence of lactose in the cell, which inactivates the coiled protein and allows lactose production. The lactose present in the cell binds to the repressor protein, preventing it from binding to the DNA by changing its shape so that the three lactose genes are productive. An image of the vampire Geraldine sucking the blood of Christabel's flashed before me, and I understood that it was the repressor protein bonding to the lactose, sucking up the sugar instead of the DNA. Once again, the snake had to be removed from the DNA tree from the throat of the shepherd so the genes could be transcribed. Then I remembered the carved images of deities riding serpents everywhere in the pyramid, And I knew that the goddesses bonded to the serpents meant lactose bonded to the coil. Serpentine repressor protein that prevents lactose production. The image of women bonded to the serpent simply represented the removal of the repressor protein from the DNA, so that the lactose genes in the cell could come alive for the new species. Women were not inherently evil, nor were they the cause of the fall of man. History and religion certainly messed up the meaning of that scientific sign. With new vision, I now understood the meaning of the virginal foot crushing the head of the serpent. So it became obvious to both John and I that Isis was the enzyme lactose polymerase that would travel with us through the cell to bond with the repressor protein and allow the production of lactose so the new species could replicate. Fresh with insight, I thought again of the Egyptian myth which described how Isis continually searched for Osiris, finally finding him, because Isis would be traveling with us in the Val ferry boat. This meant that our destination on the cell's chromosome was to Osiris, the sleeping lambda genome inside the whole cell that was lodged on the lactose gene seat. We were going to wake Osiris up for his second coming with a shot of milk. This brings us to an end of chapter 26 of The Road from Orion. When we pick back up, it will be chapter 27. Again, I say peace, shalom. I'll see you next time.